Good morning and welcome everyone. And this is the last day of February, and we have our latest Indic Book Club Writers Open House with Otis. And thank you all for joining. You know the drill. You Those of you who are interested in improving your writing reviewing skills, you send in a 700 800 writing piece to Otis. The details are available at our Facebook page as well as the indicacademy.org website. But to summarize, you send it in a Word, you create and you put in a writing piece in a Word document about 7 to 800 words in length, Times New Roman, font size 12. Export it to PDF and email it to Otis, and do so well in advance so that he has time to review and send in his feedback and comments, which he does. And then when we convene, get together on Sunday, he goes through those writing pieces and uses them to give you feedback as well as insights and tips, and in general engage in a discussion on good writing practices, do's and don'ts, art and craft, and in general. And it's open to everyone. You can find the details on our indicacademy.org website, as I said, or you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/indicbookclub. With that, I will turn this over to you, Otis, and if you could share with us, how many pieces you got writing as well as review pieces.
I have 4 pieces this week. We should be good with time. I don't have those. I don't have these reviews coming in as quickly as I'm expecting. So I don't have any reviews.
I think I need to nudge people into sending the review pieces. I know I started off by sending, I think, 2 of my reviews for feedback. One was Gone Girl, and the other one was Stephen King's The Shining. And the feedback and what you shared was very, very useful. But given that we have sent out about more than 1,200 books, and we have got about 55 reviews so far, so it means that the reviews are starting to come in. But I think I'm not sure if people are not aware of it, which is I've sent in a couple of mail newsletters, but perhaps I need to nudge people a little more, because it is not one of those obvious things that people think about, that writing, yes, of course everyone needs help and they can improve the writing, but I think when it comes to reviews, people are a little less cognizant of the need to, or the fact that good writing principles apply equally well to reviews as they do to general creative works of fiction or nonfiction.
Well, maybe we'll work to if this was your first set of reviews, we can work together to create some kind of booklet or something that people can really look at in order to go through the whole process. I think that could be helpful to people, because I think it's I've been watching with my daughters this cooking show. It's called Nail on Netflix, and basically it's like people who do not know how to bake, they come in. My daughters love it. They come in and they bake, and they have no idea what they're, and these chefs are sitting by on the side, and they're saying, oh no, you don't want to do it like that, right? The people baking have no idea. And I was thinking about the show, and I was like, why is this so, I'm enjoying it. I'm laughing like crazy at these poor people who have no idea how to do these, what for the chef are like simple things. And of course, I realized that it's just like life, right? Exactly like that. We're doing all these things all the time and have absolutely no idea how to do them. I mean, I have all this, the principal one being relationships, right? We all have, we have these incredible relationships with other people. They're difficult or all this. We have almost zero training in how to have basically none. No one even talks about it. So we're like, yep. We try, we fumble. We're like these bakers who are trying like a lemon. They have these things to make that are in a bowl, and they have no idea, the sculpted and these atrocities that they make are, Anyway, so I just thought it was a grand metaphor for us. And I guess I'm trying to round to, the poor people writing reviews. They're like, okay, I'm going to write a review. Great. I'm going to bake a cake. And now they're suddenly like, wait, maybe I know exactly how to do this. And now they get very worried. So,
now that you mention it, I'm reminded of the first time I thought I would write a review. And this is like literally like, 20 years back. And I picked up a really, really easy, simple book. I think it was a comic book, an Asterix or a Tintin. And I kid you not, I sat for half an hour staring at the keyboard, at the screen. I couldn't think of a single word with which to begin a review. I mean, it was embarrassing.
It's a real issue. It's a real issue. It's an issue for us as writers. We have to, and it takes experience, and yet we're still all human. I started a newsletter and I wrote my first one. I thought it was brilliant. And then I made the mistake of having my Zandi edit it. And when she edited it, she was like, I don't know, is this really what you want to be doing? And that threw me into a big, I'm like, wait a second, maybe I don't know how to do this thing. I don't know how to write a newsletter. And then, well, so far I haven't written one. I mean, I wrote the one, I was ready to go. I had it scheduled. And then she said, I don't know. And I took it off. And I'm just like, I'm in a tailspin. And that might be, a little bit what you have with viewers. You're like, yes, I want to do a review. And then suddenly it's like, this is how you do a review. And they're like, woo. And they're out. Yeah, go ahead.
I often feel that I often feel, and this is both my personal observation based on my experience as well as what I've seen people, when they submit or when I read reviews, is that people somehow underestimate the time it takes to write a good review. That if they've spent 3-4 hours reading a book, they feel that a review shouldn't take more than 15 or 20 minutes to write. And I don't think that's the case, is it?
Not if you, well, it really depends on the person. They used to say there's this writer, wonderful American writer. I think they said this about Flannery O'Connor. So Flannery O'Connor is this tremendous writer, and I recommend her. Just a fabulous short story writer. The collection of Flannery O'Connor is a book to read, for the short story writer. Along with a number of others. That might be, I could make some lists of some people to read. But anyway, they said about her, they were like, well, she wrote this story in a day. She wrote this story in a day. It's a master. And that can make everyone go like, oh my God, I have to write a story in a day. That was not the first story that she wrote.
Exactly.
So it really so much depends on the writer. I mean, I don't know if you know Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Tipping point, right? He says, you need 10,000 hours to become an expert. I mean, I don't know about that timing, but I feel that there's just a simple logic to it, of course, that you have to spend time doing. If you spend time doing something, of course, you're going to become proficient at it. That's all about it. I mean, he's basically saying it's not about talent. It's not some, God's gift. You're touched by God and you can do it. Okay. And that's true of every single thing. And if you look at it this way, there's some of the very easiest things in the world that you can do and you can master in an hour. Okay, great. But in regard to writing, for example, you have someone who's their first review here, but you have people who are also publishing reviews who've been writing reviews for 10,000 hours. So this person who's writing a review, they've just written their first review. They're in competition with people written reviews for 10,000 hours with experts. It's really, in a way, it's just not fair to say that they should be in the same competition, but they are because we're trying to publish them, right? So it's like everyone here all these writers are walking into the Olympics of writing right away. Like we can just walk into the Olympics of writing when we just taken up the javelin for the first time. We threw a javelin. Okay, let's join the Olympics. It's very hard to wrap our minds around difficulty that it seems like, oh, well, we can write something and we can publish it sort of like we might hit the lottery. I sometimes used to say, like, I've had so many writers that are just like, they wrote this thing and they think they're going to hit the lottery. Maybe there's a writer or two that do hit the lottery, but the chances are slim.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about these pieces. I have a new take to bring to you. And I'm going to start with Anvita's piece.
Okay, just hold on one sec, Otis. Let me go check if she is logged in or not. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Oh, why are you doing this to me? How are you? Who else is here?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, good. Rashma, how are you?
I have always wanted to ask you one question, Otis.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
She's here.
Okay. Ram, did you want to start with a question?
No, it's something different. So I will ask that later.
Okay. Let's. Did I share this screen already? I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Okay. So we, you know, I know from working with Indic Academy and over the course of these couple of months that there are a number of writers who are looking to write the scenes from the Mahabharata. Okay, so I don't know the written version of the Mahabharata very well, so you have to forgive me for that. In fact, I don't know it at all. I think I keep asking for a recommendation for a great translation of it, and then I think I keep getting them and I don't write it down, and then I don't get it and I don't read it. So it's on me. So you understand that.
I'm going to send you a recommendation, Otis. This one is written by R. Narayan, and it is like less than 200 pages, which in itself is an accomplishment given that the original unabridged text runs into about 7,000 pages. So obviously, you know, it's going to lose a lot. You know, a 200-page translation will lose a lot, but at least it'll give you the overall gist of what the story is about.
Okay, so can you send that to me on email? It's the place where I will do other things. Here, it's not. I can't do. I have a foot issue. Well, thank you. Well, and I watched that. The British director. My mother was very involved in the mob for a while, and we watched that British movie from the 60s or 70s maybe. So I know it a little bit. But what I want to talk about is different means. So what I when I think of the Mahabharata, it's a work similar to, let's say, the Iliad and the Odyssey that I'm more familiar with. So it's coming out of an oral culture where there might be some people writing something, but basically it's getting out to the people who, storytellers, who have a system. The book that I go to, it was actually incredibly influential, and it's shaped my entire life for some weird reason. It's this very academic book called Orality and Literacy by Walter Ong. It's a fascinating book that I read when I was in college, when I was nuts who basically only drank beer. It's just ridiculous that it should have influenced me as much as it did. But anyway, these stories come out of what Walter Ong was calling an oral culture primarily, where information was orally through storytellers around in the villages and the hinterland and all. and had a court where people were working on the stories and telling them, et cetera, et cetera. But finally, they got out to the people by storytellers going out and telling the stories and getting paid a little bit for it. I love that. I always took that away. I always thought that that's actually that well describes what the job, all of our jobs is. We're storytellers. We tell stories, and if they're good and they engage people, they give us a couple shekels for them or whatever kind of money so that we can get some bread and eat again. And then we go and we tell the story in the next village. That, I think, is the pure way to tell stories, honestly. But at that time, when the oral culture, there was a lot that was being kept, and the information was really ordered by rhythmic devices. So it was like various rhythms and poetries are the things that made the story, and it just connected us a lot of historical events that took on, see it, some of the realm of mythology. Because, like we know, like the telephone game, storyteller tells the story here, they tell it here, it changes a little bit, and it changes a little bit for the audience, and it becomes a little bit larger than life. And this is the way storytelling is, and it still is, if you know.